Welcome to Mastering Your Financial Life, hosted by Judy Heft, the founder and CEO of Judith Heft and Associates Financial and Lifestyle Concierge. This year, they're celebrating 26 years in business. In every episode, Judy interviews professionals who help others successfully manage their financial lives. You can find this show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. Judy is the author of 2 books, How to Be Smart, Successful, and Organized with Your Money for a Better Today and Tomorrow, and her latest book, Mastering Your Financial Life Cycles, How to Successfully Manage Money in Every Decade of Life. You can read chapters of her books and catch prior episodes of this show at www.judithheft.com. Now here's the host of Mastering Your Financial Life, Judy Heft.
Hey there. I'm really excited to have Erin Ardleigh as my first podcast guest because Erin and I go way back and we've been collaborating for some time. We co-founded a mastermind group. We started a few networking groups and we continue to share resources. I'm grateful to have a professional like Erin in my network. Erin is the founder and CEO of Dynama Insurance, an independent insurance advisor. What that means is she's not tied to any one company, and she's able to educate her clients and helps them find the best products at the most competitive rates. So thank you, Erin. Erin, welcome. And I'm really, like I said before, I'm thrilled to have you. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks for having me, Judy. Sure. So my firm, Dynama Insurance, is based in New York City, but we work with clients across the country when they're looking for help with life, disability, long-term care, or health insurance. And I founded my company to bring some focus on education and transparency in a marketplace that for many people is quite confusing and frustrating. So I'm really passionate, as you know, about helping other entrepreneurs and especially helping women. Insurance is so important to protect people's families and businesses. And my aim has always been to make the process of finding and getting insurance much easier for people so that they can get the right advice, get the right insurance, and then move on to doing the other things that they love.
It's so great that you're so transparent with everybody, Erin, because yes, I agree with you. Insurance can be overwhelming, especially to someone that doesn't understand any of it. It's like reading a Greek manuscript. It's like gobbledygook to me. So it's great to have someone like you that I trust, that I know is not going to just sell something for the sake of selling it. They're going to look to see what are the best options, and even sometimes give a review. And if it's not the right option, if they're better off staying where they are, you're happy to let them do that and maybe review again in another couple of years when things change. So I wanted to ask you, what's the most important advice you give someone that needs insurance?
So you mentioned reviews, and I think for people who have insurance, one great piece of advice is to make sure that you're doing reviews. Engage your accountant, your wealth advisor, your trust and estates attorney, your insurance broker, and try to get in the habit of, once a year, just making sure everything is in good shape, and maybe every 2 to 3 years doing a deeper review. Too many people buy insurance policies and then just toss them into the filing cabinet. That's not the best practice, right? However, if you're shopping for new insurance, the single best piece of advice I can give is to make sure that you comparison shop. I chuckle when I see clients that spend more time picking out their groceries or their shoes or their handbag than they do when they go to buy insurance. Insurance policies you might have for 20, 30, 60 years. You don't want to rush to buy something. You want to comparison shop. I always say, make sure you see at least 2 products, at least 3 different companies. Make sure you take the time to truly understand what's out there and compare. Something that, as simple as term insurance, the product could be double from one company. The pricing could be double from one company to another. So I just can't stress enough the importance of that comparison shopping.
So when you're saying there that the price could be double from one company to another, is that for the same policy, for the same benefit?
Yeah, for more or less the same thing. So there's really no one insurance company that has the best product in every area, and that's the best for every person. So when I do a review, if I see someone that has all their insurance, life, disability, home, auto from one company, I know that they're not getting the best prices or the best coverage. So we work at Dynama, we work with dozens of different insurance companies, but sometimes we might have a client that has 4 or 5 different insurers that we've used to build their plan because there's been, the sweet spot for pricing or the right kind of product, whether that person is a business owner or homemaker, or whether they're younger or older, healthier or not. So again, there's really no one product that we would say this one every time. And something really simple, again, like term insurance, you really could see a huge pricing range from one company to another. So we usually say make sure you're working with an independent broker so somebody can walk you through all those options and you don't get overwhelmed trying to go online or figure it out yourself.
That's really helpful. That's excellent advice and suggestions. But so what are some of the mistakes that people should avoid when they're trying to buy life insurance, especially life insurance?
That's a great question. So really with any insurance, my number one piece of advice is if you don't understand it, don't buy it. Again, this is something that is a really crucial part of your financial plan. You may have this product for decades. Take the time to understand it. If you're working with someone who is impatient or using lingo or not explaining things to your satisfaction, go talk to someone else. So I see too many people that either rush or that feel almost, they feel a little silly asking questions. They think they're supposed to understand these products. And so they feel bad and they buy something that then they're stuck with and they don't understand it. And it probably isn't the best fit for them. So, you should be able to, again, find advisors, find independent brokers that are patient, willing to speak to you in English and make sure that you understand what you're buying. So
that's great. That's helpful. Thank
yeah.
you. So, I think so. So there's different stages of life where you need different kinds of insurance. Like if you're first getting married and maybe you don't have anything that you think you need to insure, or you're having babies, or you're moving on and thinking about retirement, or you want to set up something for your children that are becoming young adults, to make sure that they're cared for. What are some of the types of insurance, for different stages of life? Like, for instance, even long-term care, is that important? How should they look at that?
That's a really good point. At different stages of life, you're likely to need different types of insurance. And, I have a lot of clients who are young, who are successful, who are starting a family. They typically need some simple term insurance. They need to, the babies are expensive, kids are expensive, right? We want to just make sure that these parents have some simple, inexpensive term insurance to protect their families, and also disability insurance. Disability insurance will help replace your income if you are unable to work due to an illness or an injury. And the interesting statistic there is you have a 1 in 4 chance of that happening during your career. So especially if you're the breadwinner, you need to protect that income, protect your family. Business owners too, if something were to happen to you and you're the main breadwinner for your company, everyone else is going to suffer if you have an illness or an injury, or God forbid, a colleague has a premature death. So business owners also sometimes just are so busy running their businesses, as you and I know. You're so passionate about what you do, but it's important to make sure that you have things buttoned up and have life and disability insurance. And oftentimes, as people get a little older, they start to think about long-term care insurance. They start to think, well, what would happen to me when I am 70, 80, 90 years old? Who's going to take care of me? Usually people have been told 50 is the right age to think about long-term care insurance. We're now telling clients 40 is the new 50. Don't wait. Don't put this off. It can be harder to get these policies. Usually, you're not getting healthier as you age. So the sooner you can take advantage of your good health and get something in place, you'll probably be happy with that when you look back later on. So different stages of life, different products. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, why one piece of advice is to always talk to your advisors, your financial team, and get their input and their help as to when you might need which product. And then you can start that shopping process.
That's great information. So, personally, one of the first things I did when I got divorced was get long-term care insurance, because I figure I'm the sole breadwinner for myself. I always was anyway, but I am still. And who's going to take care of me? I don't want to put that burden on my children if, God forbid something happens and I'm incapacitated and I can't do those, what do you call this, daily living exercises? I forget what they're called, ADL.
Active living.
Yeah. So, I didn't want to be stuck there and have my children, paying for everything and having to take care of me, not being able to afford, care for me. So I thought, for me as a single woman, that was really an important step to take so that I knew that I didn't have to worry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the interesting statistic is that women file almost 70% of all long-term care claims. Women are the ones that make up the largest percentage of people in nursing homes. And so on average, women live 5 years longer than men. So it's very likely if you're a woman that you will outlive your husband if you're married, and that you will need, some help being taken care of. So that's, long-term care insurance is something that most people do end up using. So it is an important part of a financial plan, but it's crucial for women to not leave that out of their financial plan, whether it's self-insuring, setting aside funds, or using insurance. I tell my clients, not everybody needs long-term care insurance, but everyone needs a long-term care plan, especially women.
That's a good point. So I know that you're passionate in what you do, Erin, and I love that about you because you really put your whole heart and soul into it, and you love helping people. So how did you get involved doing what you're doing? You want to tell us a little bit about that?
So it's funny. I don't know that anyone kind of wakes up or, as a kid in kindergarten says, I'm going to be an insurance broker, right? So after, astronaut, famous artist, actuary, filmmaker, I finally came around to, insurance. But, I have studied both art and math, and I had started a marketing company helping businesses with their marketing needs. And one of the companies that hired me was an insurance brokerage. So I ended up getting interested in the business, working for that firm for a long time, and eventually learning the insurance side, not just the marketing side. But what I tell people, the reason I'm still doing this after 20 years is what I really love is both sides of my brain get to work. I get the puzzles of the insurance plans, the strategy of putting together the right fit for the right client. But I also get the people side, and I get to hear about people's businesses and families, get lots of, cute pictures of babies and hear great stories of people's successes. So for me, it's the combination of both the strategy and the human component that make it a very rewarding career.
Oh, that's great. That's perfect for you too, because I know that you have the passion and you love the people piece too. And that's how we started networking and getting friendly with each other through business, and became personal friends because I know that you're definitely a people person and so am I. And, that's what we love to do. So that really helps. And that's helped us grow our businesses too, wanting to be out there among people. So
Yeah,
that's
we have a similar combination of skill sets.
exactly. So that's excellent. So are there some like challenges or opportunities in the field of insurance that you want to talk about and your, things that you've been thinking about? What's out there?
So I think, unfortunately, the industry, I don't think is as supportive to independent brokers. There are agents that work at a company, and for those agents, the company provides a lot of support, a lot of help. When you're an independent broker, you really have to create everything from scratch yourself. So I do believe that model is the only model that is fair for clients to truly help them understand the universe of options and then be able to come up with a bespoke recommendation. But it is a lot harder for us on the brokerage side. And unfortunately, we don't see a lot of women that work as independent brokers and that start their own firms. And, that might be because there's a lack of support and a lack of encouragement for people to go out on their own. So, you and I have talked a lot about entrepreneurship and starting businesses. And, I know we both feel that it was the best thing we ever did was to go out there and start our own companies, and we never look back. So for anyone listening, if you're curious or you're thinking about it, trust yourself, don't listen to all the naysayers, and give it a shot. You can always go get a job if it doesn't work out.
Exactly. There's plenty of jobs out there now, especially. So yes, give it a shot. It's being a risk taker, I think a little bit of being an entrepreneur. You need to be able to take risks and not be afraid to take that
Mhm.
next big step. And it's not easy. It's not for everybody, but it's worked for us. So yeah, so we're gonna go to a little commercial break here. And then when we come back, then I'm gonna ask you how we can get in touch with you and let's wrap this up and how can people find you? So I'm
Great.
going to go to commercial now and see how it goes. Hey there, I'm Judy Heft, founder and CEO of Judith Heft and Associates, financial and lifestyle concierge. celebrating 26 years in business. Woo-hoo. On the financial side, we help clients simplify their lives with daily money management and bookkeeping services. On the lifestyle side, we take away that tedious and ever procrastinated to-do list and get every chore accomplished with finesse. You can find my recent book that I co-authored with our CFO, Liz Levy, Mastering Your Financial Life Cycles, on our website at judithheft.com/book. This simple, straightforward guide is intended to help you make the best financial decisions at every stage of life. If you're ready to upgrade your financial literacy and become interested in your financial journey, this book is a must read. You can find both of our books on Amazon. I can be reached at judy@judithheft.com or 203-978-1858. Of course, you can always check us out on our website, judithheft.com. That's JUDITHHEF as in Frank T.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the show. So do you have any examples of people that didn't buy the right insurance or thought they were buying the right insurance, or were working with someone that wasn't an independent broker? And I guess one of the things I was thinking about, I'm going to backtrack a little bit on that question, was as an independent broker, do you feel like you have fiduciary responsibility to your clients more than just someone that works for one company?
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting question. Most customers and even most advisors don't realize that an agent of a company, that's an employee of a company, has a fiduciary responsibility to their employer. That's who their loyalty lies with. And as an independent broker, we by law have a fiduciary obligation to our client, which simply means we have to act in our client's best interest. And it's unfortunate that there has to be a law that says that. But again, it really does matter to understand the alliances of the person that you're hiring to help you, that you're engaging to help you. And what I always tell clients is, the price is the same. If you go to buy $1 million term policy from Prudential, the price is going to be the same, whether you go online, whether you call Prudential directly, or whether you work with an independent broker. So the benefit of an independent broker is you're going to get all this advice and expertise at no extra cost. So that's a huge help. And it's a confusing marketplace. Sometimes there's 10, 15, 20 different companies to choose from. And, cheapest isn't always better. So it's important to have an expert that can guide you. Usually when we do reviews, the mistakes that we see most often are people that bought everything from the same company, that didn't do that comparison shopping. And I hate it when I ask someone, well, why did you buy this? And their answer is, well, that was the only thing that was shown to me. So that's really where we see a lot of mistakes, is just people, not being educated before they purchase. But the other mistake we often see is people who have insurance policies, who haven't reviewed them, and the product might have made sense 10, 15, 20 years ago when they bought it, but it's not the right fit now. So we do what's called a review and rescue, which is to see how we can modify that policy, either roll it into something new, just get rid of it, make some changes to it, maybe supplement it with something new. So that's really important, because maybe what you bought, when you were just starting out and now you're hugely successful, or now your kids are all in college and off the payroll, maybe you don't need the same kind of insurance. So again, don't just set it and forget it. Make sure you take a look at these policies every couple of years to make sure they're still relevant.
So Erin, on that note, are there any penalties for canceling policies?
No. So the only downside in canceling policies is that you've put a lot of money into the policy in the early years and you walk away, you may really not realize much of a return. But what I usually say to people, is if you were selling one home to buy your dream home, would you sell that house and maybe not get as much as you would have liked to? Of course, because you're moving on to something better. So I tell people to keep that in mind. Don't look backwards, look forwards. But otherwise, no. I mean, if you have a 20-year term policy and you really would rather have a 30-year term policy, you can get a new policy and just let the old one cancel, and there's no penalty for that. So it's not always easy to change, but there's no penalty, so it's always worth exploring and understanding those options.
Well, that's good to know because I think a lot of people might be afraid to cancel a policy if they think they're going to be losing everything.
Right. And we always do say get your new insurance first before you cancel the old insurance. We don't want you to be uninsured, and we don't want to have that risk that there's, a health issue that makes it harder to insure you now, and it's much more expensive than you anticipated. So we don't want there to be surprises. But even people with some moderate health concerns, usually people are harder on themselves than they need to be. Many times people call me and say, "Oh, I don't know if you can get me insurance," and we get them a great rate. So I would say most people are a little too hard on themselves when it comes to their health issues. Again, as an independent broker with dozens of companies to choose from, we can almost always find a really good rate that makes people happy.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good to know. This is great. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up now. I think, I'll let us finish and, have closing remarks. Is there anything that we didn't ask, or I didn't ask you, or we didn't talk about that you want to add to that? How can we contact you? That's important.
Yes. So my website is very simple. It's just dynamainsurance.com. So that's DYNAMA insurance.com. If you go to the website, you can read a little bit more about our company and see our contact information. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just LinkedIn/Erin Ardleigh. So that's very easy. I'm actually the only Erin Ardleigh in the world that I'm aware of. So I'm pretty easy to find on Google as long as you spell my name right. But we do offer complimentary reviews. There's no fee for us to help you shopping for new insurance and to answer any questions. And we also offer content such as webinars and advice for advisors like wealth advisors, attorneys, and accountants. So whether you're a potential client or an advisor to clients, we would love to hear from you and keep in touch with some educational content.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Erin. I'm really happy to have you here today and to talk to you. It's always great to see you anyway, but this is kind of fun. And again, thank you for being my first guest. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to many, many more years of networking with you and referring back and forth. And, hopefully you can help many more of my clients with their insurance needs. And I really appreciate that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to Mastering Your Financial Life, hosted by Judy Heft. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, and sharing this show with others. You can read chapters of Judy's books and catch prior episodes of Mastering Your Financial Life at www.judithheft.com.